Hi, this is Damien from AtHope, and I'm an axiological atheist, and we're starting a meeting.
Okay. I'm just going to make a list of who's here, just so it kind of helps me remember people's names, especially when I've met you for the first time. So I know. And Neth, N-E-T-H?
Yeah.
And E-M?
Yeah, E-M-B-E-R-T.
E-M-B-E-R-T.
And then I think this is Bradley.
Yeah, I got Brad. We know Bradley. And oh, of course, I'm here too. I can't forget that. So, Ember, what brought you to this group? Have you been to any other groups?
No, I have not.
Oh.
Well, welcome.
First time.
What brought me here was I was just wondering if I really should join like a community of people who think just like I do.
Right, yeah. So you do live in the Kent area or the
Yes,
South?
I actually live about 20 minutes walk down.
Oh, that's good.
Right next to the golf course.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Okay. Well, what we do is we kind of just get together and talk about things that are going on in the free thought community or interests that we have, that have to do with free thinking or atheism or skepticism or
Rationalism.
I know. I was getting ready to say that.
I know, you always want to leave me out.
Damien and I, we pick on each other all the time. Right, Damien?
I love you.
We're best of friends.
We had a similar upbringing.
Yes.
Very few have had.
Right. We ended up, actually, he was the first person that I ever met in all the free thinkers that I've known over the years that actually had been raised in the same cult.
Yeah, I call it a cult.
That I ended up joining and raising my kids in, who just hated me for it. Now they're free thinkers, so they're all good. But they're like, Mom, what did you do that to us? So I was like, oh my gosh, somebody like me.
Yeah, you're the first person I've ever heard that knew what I was even talking about.
Right. So, anyway.
It's, by the way, so if you don't know, it's called the Local Church, and it's run by Witness Lee, and he took his ideas from Watchman Nee. You probably don't know who any of those people are, but anyways,
Yeah.
it's a faith that believes that you don't have a pastor, and yet you kind of do. So they say we don't have a pastor, and yet everybody really follows this one guy. So you have a leader almost more than a pastor.
Right.
But then he has all kinds of churches, but yet there's still only one pastor or one leader. Although not, the pastor, of course, of the 100 churches or something or whatever it is. But yet still one person. And he doesn't believe that a church should have a name. It should be the name of the city that it's in. And so it's kind of bizarre. And then they do this, the weirdest thing I remember is they do this thing called pray reading.
Oh, yeah.
And then also, to me, it's the only time I've ever heard the word Jesus mentioned in a way that almost makes you feel creepy. Right?
Yes.
Have you heard of Jesus? I'm like, ooh, I don't know, but whoever he is, keep that sumbitch away. Don't get any of that on my clothes. But I mean, just the prayer reading, though, is bizarre. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Well, go ahead and explain it.
Oh, yeah. How do you explain prayer reading? Well, you take the Bible.
You have to do it for them to get the idea.
I don't have a Bible.
Just do it with your paper.
Okay.
It's no different.
I'll give you guys a sample. It is pretty bizarre.
Okay.
But now, just think of somebody reading the Bible in this sense. Thank you so much for that.
Well, I'll do it. I'm not trying to expose you. Here, I'll do it. I mean, I don't want you to make you feel put on the spot. I'll do it.
I'm just trying to find.
It's just that nobody understands when you say it.
The March 4th New York Times headline said it all. The March 4th. Hallelujah. The March 4th. Praise Jesus. The March
Kind of.
4th.
But I think it's like this. Here, I'll give it to you. Let me do it. Let me do it. The March 4th. Oh, Lord. The Lord. Oh, the March. Jesus.
So
The March.
so
The
it's like
March.
some kind of like
Better than I would.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in it. I was like, these people are whack. That's why you're like, I think it's a cult. Yeah, it was a cult. Okay. What else do you need? Blood sacrifice? No, it wouldn't surprise me if they did that too.
Yeah. That is weird.
Ever seen them baptize people? That's another
Oh,
story.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, well, in Huntington Beach, they had the glass, and they would pull it down, and the whole congregation would like run around. Oh, they had real wine instead of grape juice. At our thing,
No, they didn't at all.
they would take one glass,
Yeah.
and they would just wipe it and then give it everybody.
Oh, no.
And my dad get mad because I'd be like,
well, yeah, that's not too different from being Catholic. I was raised Catholic, and yeah, they just have the one cup or
Right.
chalice or whatever the hell it was,
Yeah.
and yeah, just like wipe down.
Yeah.
because that kills germs.
Yeah.
Just spreads them
Yeah,
around. It's a magic wipe.
They're Catholics. They hadn't gotten around to germ theory.
Yeah.
It's,
See, I was raised Catholic.
yeah, no, I was too. And,
I went to Catholic school for 8 years. And
oh, I
then,
only went for 2, so.
And then I got out
Yeah.
of, left Catholicism.
And then you joined the cult?
No. Actually, I got out of Catholicism and I became a hippie.
And how did you go to the cult? It's like the opposite.
Oh, this is what happened.
I never got to hear the most wonderful story from you.
Yeah. Well, it's not so wonderful, but
Well, terrible story.
Yeah.
Nightmare.
It's okay. So my husband at the time and I, we were in the hippie thing.
And what does that mean?
And
Come
the
on.
biker. He was in the biker thing.
And what does that mean?
The biker.
I know what a biker kind of means, but what does the hippie scene mean to you? You're smoking pot and having
Yeah.
sex and orgies and
No,
and
not that.
basting, wild duck and, and rabbits you caught in the yard.
No. No.
Sorry, Bradley. Is it too funny?
We
They're
were
not
like
buying up.
just hung out with a bunch of hippies, and we took drugs. Yeah, we did do all that stuff. Not all that stuff. I just had one boyfriend though, and that ended up
Okay.
being my husband. So,
Oh.
but
I don't judge.
there were other people that were just fine with that, and it was okay at the time with me. I didn't care what they did. But anyway, we were in that. But what happened was we had 3 of our closest friends die really horrible deaths. One jumped off the Aurora Bridge. He was only 18 years old. Totally just, it was horrible. And 2 others, one died in a motorcycle accident, and the other one shot himself. So it was like we were a very close group of about 20, 25 people maybe that hung out all together. So that was quite a thing. When that stuff started happening, my husband and I were going, oh man, we gotta move on. This is not good. What's going on with all these people? So he started searching. I wasn't really searching for anything other than to get away from that and all the drugs and stuff. But he was searching for something. So he went to a Bible study in somebody's home, and it was this group of people, small group, and he was really impressed, and eventually I ended up meeting these people too. Then I was there for 11 years and raised our 2 daughters and for that long, in that, and then I got really just fed up because it was very, for me, it was, well, not for me, for women in general, it was one of those where the women can't speak, they can speak, but they can't be in the leadership of the church, or they have to submit to their husbands and all this. And I was never a submissive kind of person in that regard, so it was bugging me. And so eventually I just said, no, I'm not doing this anymore. And my husband and I split up, and I was excommunicated from the church. Hallelujah. My kids are going, yes.
And then didn't you say you had got into goddess worship or something like that, or
Well, what happened
Wiccan or
is
pagan or something?
what happened after that was I was like, oh, Christianity just it sucks. I mean, I was like, I just don't believe any of it. But I wanted to know what makes people, hang on to religion or go to religion. And so I thought, well, I'm going to study pre-Christian religion and pre-Hebrew religion. Just go. And so I got involved in studying the goddesses of that were worshipped before the gods.
Do you have any specific one that you checked out or what? Or
All
region
of
or
them.
something? Because there's
No, I know there's so many. No, I just read a lot, and I found out that a lot of the Christian religion, was kind of pieces were taken from the goddess religion too. And it's like they usurped because they didn't like women to be in charge, and in the goddess religion, women were very important. In the goddess religions, women were very important, and the Christians didn't like that. So anyway, long story short, I just really started seeing through all religions, and I didn't pray to any goddesses or anything like that. I felt like it was a natural nature to me. I was more drawn to nature, and to me the goddess represented nature and humans and everything in connection with that. So I stayed in that for quite a while, and then just eventually I just there's got to be something else. I just got tired of it. So then I started reading Carl Sagan and other authors, and just decided, I think I'm a humanist. And
what does a humanist mean to you?
well, a
So a lot of
humanist
people don't seem to.
to me, a humanist means that humanity is the only humanity can save itself. There is no higher power. There is no other person out there that's going to help us or answer our prayers or anything like that. Humans create and we destroy. So we can create a good place for society, or we can destroy society, and it's all in our hands. It has nothing to do with any god or goddess or other entity outside of ourselves. And so and that's why I think religion is really harmful, because it gets people to look away from what they can do personally or even as a group to try to get someone that they can't even see to fix problems for them. And it just doesn't happen. So that's my idea.
Yeah, there's two books that I read on the goddess I think that people should read. It's pretty interesting. One is called Mother of the Gods, and the other one is called When God Was a Woman.
I have When God Was a Woman. I have that one, yeah. So that's kind of what happened to me. And I'm so glad that I found the atheist community and the free thought community. I thought my daughters and I thought we were the only atheists around when we left the church, because when we would just get together and go, God, it's so hard, there's nobody else to talk to. And then there was a Freedom from Religion Foundation. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, I'm a proud member of them. Anyway, they had a conference in Seattle, and so my daughters and I decided to go, and we were so shocked. There was so many people there, and that's how I got connected with Seattle Atheists.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were just like, oh my goodness, there's more of us.
Yeah.
So, and that's been, wow, a long, long time ago. So, and here I am, starting new groups, being involved in new groups all the time. I just want people to, I want to spread the word that, people don't have to let religion control what goes on in the world. I'm very against religion right now. I mean, I was, at first I was, if they just don't bother me and I don't bother them, but now I'm convinced that religion is not a good thing.
What's the main reason?
Well, top of the list is wars. I mean, religion has always started wars. I mean, it's and they have always tried to usurp other tribes or peoples, and if they didn't conform to their religious standards, I mean, it wasn't beyond them to slaughter them, and the same thing happens now today in the Middle East and other parts of the world. So it's like, to me, religion is, I think we should evolve away from religion as a species.
So if religion stopped causing wars, would there be any other harm that you find, objectionable, or is that the only or main one?
Subjection of women, child abuse. I mean, there's a list of stuff that I feel religion.
Yeah, for me, it's children first.
Yeah.
Before wars, because wars will be started for all kinds of reasons, whether or not there's religion. So I'm not saying I don't agree with you. There's definitely been religions put its fingers in all kinds of stuff. But to me, I always say that there's not a religion in the world, no matter how peaceful, that doesn't indoctrinate and subjugate its children. Mm-hmm. And to me, that is the most lasting and most devastating thing that religion does, because they all do it. I mean, there's not one you can look to and go, oh, well, those people are good. No, they all do it. Whether it's God's religion, or it's Jainism, or Buddhism, or it's Taoism, or it's Confucianism, or it's Judaism, or it's Islam, they all do it. I don't understand what if your thing is so true, and everyone, if they just learned it, would get it, why do you force it to be, your children to do it? Why don't you allow them to, look at all the evidence and come to that same wonderful conclusion?
Right. It's controlling the masses.
What's that?
I said I could answer you there. The world is indoctrinating our children.
Oh, they are, yeah.
And so if you don't teach them the way they should go, then they'll be changed by the world. And you'll have what you see out there right now.
But if you're talking about religion indoctrinating, religion already did that. I mean, there's not a time in history where religion was in control at any time and was indoctrinating people that there was peace. There never has been a religion in charge, and there was peace. So I mean, that's not a solution. Indoctrination of any kind is not a solution. We should indoctrinate children, period. Whether it's the world, as you said, or religion. Really, you should teach people to be rational and caring and humanistic, and then everything else that comes out of that, to me, is more of a benefit. Sorry, let's get on my little podium. That's one of my favorite things to do is actually street activism. I like to get out there, go like the street preachers try to do. I used to do that all the time in California. In fact, I just did it yesterday here in Washington, first time. It was awesome.
In Seattle, or?
No, I did it in Auburn at the college with I brought like 8 signs to the Secondary Student Alliance. Yeah, Green River.
Oh yeah,
Someone talked about that?
someone was talking about the secular student. Oh yeah, you were at the Auburn Free Thought Society, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
probably Kayla and Clay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I brought my video in case we're going to videotape, but I brought signs because, I mean, that's what I want to do. And I've been looking for people here that want to be with me and go out there. I also want to do is I want to do two different things. One is I want to go to all the major places here in town and hold atheist signs. But my wife told me, I'll take a picture. My wife told me that she wants someone to come with me to take the picture. She'll drop us off and drive and then come back and pick us up. Because there's parking here in Seattle is kind of terrible.
Yeah.
So, but that's one of the things I want to do. I want to take a picture all over the place. In the middle of things and take a picture of the old atheist sign. It says, atheist is not a bad word. And then I also want to have one, there's an I-5, there's people holding a sign that says Jesus is love or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to hold a sign that says Jesus teaches to hate. And then give the actual verse that says that in Matthew.
Yeah. There's always something that
That's a lie?
Yeah, Jesus doesn't teach.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, he
So he says you should hate your mother, hate your father, hate your children. He said you should even hate your own life. He doesn't say that verse?
No.
Really?
He says, no, he talks about love. Love one another. Peace. Not hate. That's a bad thing to say.
Have you read the Bible?
I read the Bible. Yeah.
So you know that there are places where Jesus says that.
Jesus, you have to, I wish I would have brought my Bible, I could have told you about it. But, no, Jesus doesn't preach hate. Jesus preaches love. Now, if you're talking about the Old Testament, we don't live under the Old Testament.
So the Old Testament was wrong then.
No, the Old Testament came before the New Testament. But the New Testament, you're going to read.
So did Jesus ever say to write the New Testament? He didn't, right? And Jesus, in fact, didn't even write any books. And in fact, Jesus also never said, please write my story. And he never asked his disciples to write their story. In fact, Jesus said, not one jot or tittle will change.
That's right.
Right. But then the whole New Testament is an actual change of the Bible.
It's a new order.
But Jesus didn't ask for that. So it was done not in his behalf. Because he never asked. Right? He did not ask.
I don't know.
And he said nothing should change. So, I don't know. I think a whole bunch changed. It would be kind of against him.
There was a change. There was
Oh,
grace.
so I have the verse.
Grace in the New Testament, law in the Old Testament. We don't live by.
Okay, but
law.
listen, New Testament, Luke 14:26. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his mother, and hate his father, hate his wife and his children, his brothers and his sister, yes, even his own life, this person cannot be my disciple. And you can write it down because you can look it up. It's Luke 14:26. Luke 14:26.
Okay, just let her go.
Well, I mean,
That's
she.
good. I know.
But I didn't attack her. She
Yeah, no,
interjected
I know.
herself.
But you gave her the verse that you're not going to change her mind.
That verse actually says disown.
Well, no, it depends on which translation you're reading. I mean, even if it's disown, that certainly is not love.
It doesn't mean disown.
Disown your own life?
No, what it's saying.
No. You so do you? If
I'm not
think of
going
it this
to
way.
get in debate with you. I was.
You don't have
If you
to.
want to let me have a say, I will. But if you want to be right, that's okay too.
No, it's about understanding the verse. Either you're saying that Jesus doesn't know how to talk, because you need to interpret it for him.
Okay, let's go back to it.
Where were we?
Yeah, okay. So,
I used to do like the street fairs and everything, and we'd have a booth, and of course, everybody, people would always feel inclined to come up and debate. And I don't mind a debate, but on the other hand, I remember being at PAX one year, and there was like a game church. And, that's gross, but
What's
and
PAX?
Penny Arcade Expo, the big video game convention. Yeah.
Of course, I would not know. I don't even know what that is.
But in any case, you know, I'd be like, I was like, okay, I can't go over there because if I start going over there, and you know, then I'm the jerk. And but it is kind of interesting though that it's almost like presumed, like if there's like some kind of atheist event going on, like oh they, you know, we just, of course we have a right to come and interject and debate and everything. You know, I mean, not everybody likes to do that. I mean, I enjoy it, but that doesn't mean that everybody in the Seattle Atheist wants that.
Oh, you enjoy it? Want my card?
Huh?
I need people who enjoy it.
But yeah, I mean, like, you know, I'll do it there, you know, but you know, the fact that there's this kind of double standard where it's like, you know, if I went to a church organization and did that, like I'm clearly a jerk, but for an atheist organization, that's just, you know, like kind of for granted, like, oh yeah, you go up and you debate them, that's what you're supposed to do.
And see, I've done that.
Weird.
They tried to. I went to the Creation Conference with Ken
Oh,
Ham.
that's a whole other thing right there. That's that I'm like, yeah, stamp that out at all costs. That is. Like,
No, I'm saying, but they
Yeah.
felt, why am I here? I'm like, really? It's Ken Ham, it's Ray Comfort, and it's Eric Coven, and other people. But they were like mad that I was out in front. I wasn't even on their property, just right out in front on the street, holding signs about reason and evidence and science. And they came out and they were mad. You know, they get, oh, why are you here? You know, how, you know, we should be able to have our own things. I go, you guys come to all of our stuff. Come on, you can't even do anything.
People constantly, you know, pick at atheist stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
But like I said, I'm fortunate in that I don't mind that, and so I'm like, yeah, sure. What do you have that I haven't already heard? You know, 100 different ways already. Like, come on.
All right.
But yeah.
Alrighty, I'll see you. Alright.
Well, I do know that the free thought atheist community is growing in this area. And I just read a Pew report the other day that young people are really turned off by religion. And so I think that there is some evolving going on in the human race, you know, away from the constraints of religion. So that's a good thing.
And what do you think that the reason is?
Oh, I think the reason is that people are more, the young people particularly are more apt to question authority, to question fundamentalism, to seek answers instead of just let someone give them the answers. And I think that's opening their minds to, and then also higher education is opening their minds, you know, the sciences. And so, you know, I'm encouraged by that. I really am, because I see it on my meetup groups. I mean, every day there's at least one new member signs up. Two, you guys. You know, I'm just like, well, I can hardly keep up with, you know, welcoming people because it's so incredible. You know, so it gives me hope that free thought is on the rise. You know, and you know, people forget. They think people, especially Christians, think that free thought is just something that, you know, just now started happening. They don't realize that even our Constitution is godless, and it's godless for a reason. It's because the founding fathers knew what religion could do to a country, and so they purposely.
What's that?
Like the various religions.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you definitely see a lot of people like trying to rewrite America's history as, you know, being founded on Christian principles. People like to pretend that under God's been in the Pledge of Allegiance for much longer than it actually has been.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's
You know.
been the 54, I think it was, that they actually.
Yeah, I think it was in the
54.
50s. That sounds right. I
Right.
had a specific year at one point.
Well, people don't realize, they don't read the history, you know, and they just want to believe what they're told. And it's easier to do that than to actually do research, you know, research on what you're told in religion. But it does make it, I mean, it's easier not to ask questions, and it's easier to just go along with the flow. And I think people that are free thinkers or people that don't do that, they don't. They don't fit in that mold of just going along and getting along with, you know, if they have a question, they want an answer.
And I think, you know, one reason for the, you know, this kind of decline in believers and whatnot, and, you know, recently is, I think it has a lot to do with a couple things. One, I think it has to do with gay marriage being a thing that's likely going to be.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
Oh, it's going to happen.
Oh yeah, I mean it's going to happen. I'm just hoping.
Oh, you're saying it sounds like you're saying like it may not happen.
No,
Oh, no,
sooner,
I think it's going to
sooner
happen.
than
It's
later.
like, yeah, I don't think anything's going to stop it.
Yeah.
It's too
Well,
late.
I'm always thinking like, you know, is it going to, you know, just be like, okay, you know, the Supreme Court's finally going to say, hey, you know what, you can't ban it, or is it going to be like a thing where it's like we're kind of finding out which state is going to be last to legalize it? It's like, you know, it's like, hey, you know, Missouri, you might not want to, you know, you might not want to have that, you know, that attached to you being the last state to.
You think it'll be Missouri be the last one?
I'm just saying that because I was born there and it's still one of the few that hasn't.
I was going to say, I don't see Missouri as really that backward compared to some of the other ones.
And I
Like Mississippi.
Yeah.
Which actually teaches in their schools, you know, creationism.
yeah.
I mean, Missouri, I think, is thinking about legalizing marijuana. I don't see Mississippi doing that.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. So I could go back and visit my relatives and just be high the whole time, so it wouldn't bother me.
But I'm saying, when they were in the states over there, so I don't see them as that. I mean,
Yeah.
I did live there for a year. They are kind of backwards, but
Yeah.
they're not as backwards as some of the places I've been
Right.
to. I've been in the middle of Mississippi, man. Whoa.
No,
I can't
I,
even imagine.
They're still living in things that you drive by, you're like, oh, that's abandoned. Why didn't they do it? Oh, there's someone living there. Oh, sorry.
well, it's kind of, I drove between, like, helping my brother move once. He just gotten out of the military. I helped him move between El Paso and Fort Lauderdale. So we just drove through that entire thing. I'm like, man, I don't ever want to go to the South again.
It's sad. We should do a lot more to help people. I mean, you go there, it's just, like I said, places that, I mean, there's places in California I thought were bad, like ghettos and stuff. Not that the gangs and stuff aren't bad, but I mean, the housing is still somewhat adequate. You go through, like I said, Mississippi, and California would go in there and actually close the place down. I mean, they would say, this is unlivable, and they certainly couldn't raise children there. But I mean, it's like the buildings all leaning and like rotted.
Wow. I've never been to the South.
Yeah, I know I need to go at some point because I need to go visit my brother, and he's got a daughter who's 2 now, but they're really religious, and I just like to try and not.
Are they Catholic?
No, they're not. They're something else. She's a minister's daughter, for one thing. So there's that. So, yeah, and I mean, you know, like, they're never going to come up here, so
Yeah.
it's just kind of like, why do I have to be dragged kicking and screaming down into your stupid world when you're never going to come up to mine?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of the same way with my relatives in St. Louis, my Catholic family in St. Louis, where it's like, you know, we've been down there several times to see you guys, but I mean, you guys have never come up here. I'm sure you're not. You know, I've always got to go into your world. Last time I was down there, I ended up having to go to a Catholic picnic. I was like, this is gross. I'll take a shower now.
I know.
I can't say anything because I have to be good.
I don't do good very well.
As if what they're doing is.
Do you get that impression? I always tell people I'm a rebel, and I always think I'm lying. No, I'm not lying.
Yeah. You're a good rebel.
Well, that's what I told someone else. I said, you know what? Someone as out as I am, though, is a good thing, because when he's on your side, he does good things.
See, I have a situation with my relatives. Most of them are, 90% of them are Christian. And they're also very right-wing. So they have very strict type. I don't know what I want. The word not
Family values?
Yeah, yeah. I would call it
Family values?
Yeah.
That's the other thing, is like
Because only you have family.
Right, exactly.
any organization that has like family in the name, I kind of know is code for like, hey, we're probably terrible people.
But they know I am a free thinker. They know that I'm an atheist. And some of them it really bothers, but there's, but they see me when I talk about picnics. That's why I brought it up, because I still go, because I love my aunts. My aunts are, I was raised being close to them, so of course I'm going to love my aunts, and I respect them as people. They're good people. But I let them know that I am a free thinker and that I don't believe in that.
What does that mean to you? Because you've used that word a couple times.
Free thinker?
I like when people describe things.
Why are you picking on me?
I'm not picking it. We're trying to educate the public. I'm asking. Remember, we're videotaping.
Calm down.
I was like, whoa, okay.
Don't.
I'm a big one for words. I like when people talk, because then
To me,
we all
okay,
know what we're talking about.
Free thought for me is being able to use your mind to imagine, to think whatever you want. You're not constrained by doctrine. Specifically for me, I use it in the context of someone who is religious and their minds are closed. Because to me, I haven't met too many religious people who have open minds.
Right.
They may say they have open minds, but the minute you mention atheism or you mention anything about history where free thought is, in history, like for instance the Founding Fathers, I would consider free thinkers because they thought ahead. They thought about what they wanted the Constitution to say and how the country should be set up, and they went with it. And I'm sure they got a lot of flack from doing that, because I'm sure the congregations at that time were not happy that God was not mentioned in the Constitution.
Probably.
But they were strong enough to say, no, we don't want that. And so, for me, a free thinker is someone who lives with an open mind and functions with an open mind. It's like a free thinker is also someone whose mind can be changed. They're not dogmatic. Like, once I didn't like gay people, I'm never going to accept gay people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they don't move with the evolution of society. They're closed-minded. Free thinkers move with evolution.
Right, and I agree. I don't think that we own free thinking though.
Right.
Because as I agree with you that our founding fathers were definitely being free thinkers, but all our founding fathers practically believed in something.
Right.
So I do think that, that's what I'm saying. So sometimes I hear people act like free thinking is atheism. I think free thinking is a branch.
People.
I know, but I'm saying it's a branch of. But I don't think it's an exclusive thing. That's like someone saying that I use philosophy, for my atheism, but that doesn't mean that all philosophy is atheist.
Right.
So, but I do agree with you that to be a free thinker, you have to basically have an open relationship with the truth, that you're open to new truth, and that you have to be willing to entertain ideas even if you don't agree to them. To be able to listen, like you said, sometimes the dogmatic people, it's not that even that they won't even accept and take new truth. They won't even listen to it. They won't even listen to you present it. They're like, yeah, but it's just they're like put on blinders immediately. That's like when I was at the thing yesterday. This guy was telling me, well, the Bible says this, the Bible said this, and I said that's false. And I said, and he was, this answers in Genesis and something else. I'm like, yeah, that's nonsense. You want to know the Bible in a free thinking kind of way? Go to BibleArchaeology.com, because they're Christians, but they're not fundamentalists. They're willing to admit that that Yahweh in the Bible had a goddess wife. They're willing to write that. They don't agree with that now, but they'll admit that it was there. I mean, so I find them pretty credible for being Christians. And I think that's what I'm saying about it. I agree with you about free thinking, is not letting dogma run it, but the truth. Being open to when something is proven, going, okay.
But don't you think that even a free thinker could be, and I'm not saying that all Christians are not free thinkers.
Well, they're not all Christians. I'll say that. I definitely agree that any religious person in general is dogma based to me.
Right,
So
but there are Christians who are.
Yes, no, that's what I'm saying. I do. Like I said, whoever runs, I don't know who it is because I didn't look into it, but I've used in my book about 14 different articles from BibleArchaeology.com because it's awesome. It says Jesus was a Jew and not a Christian. I mean, it says that Paul only wrote 7 books of the Bible and not all, 16. I mean, it says a bunch of it says that the hell comes from the Greek religion. It was.
Right.
I mean, it says. I'm saying it, but they show the archaeology. They say there was no Christian artifacts until the year 300.
Right.
I mean, they say some pretty damning stuff to people that are believers. But like I said, so that to me, whoever runs that is either an atheist and lying, wants to make, because he's doing a really good job to make a Christian feel not too sure, or it's true that the person's actually a Christian and just a free thinker.
Right.
So I'll just err on the fact that I trust people, their word usually,
Right.
and I'll trust that they're just a Christian free thinker. They believe in God somehow, I don't know how, and yet they look at the facts and they accept that when you dig something up and it's got Yahweh and Ishtar,
Right.
they are married, you accept, okay, then they must have been married.
Have you ever heard of some guy's name, Richard Carrier?
Oh yeah, definitely.
He's really.
Yeah, no, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Well,
He's not a Christian,
No, I know he's not a Christian.
but I like him because he does the same thing. I mean, he really goes into the Word, and gets down to the nitty gritty. That's where you learn. That's where you learn the truth.
Right.
It's not being told to you by some person that probably doesn't even have any more education than, a couple years of college probably, and yet they act like they know the whole.
Well, there's people that have no college. Like people say, what's this, the thing, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, that's actually not a verse in the Bible. That's actually from a 16th century romantic BDSM poem about beating a woman and treating her like a child. It's actually not even.
Now see, this guy, he knows so much stuff.
Well, because to me,
How do you find all this out?
because I've been working for the last 3 years and made my book, The Tree. Remember,
And-
it's coming out
yeah,
very soon.
I was going to ask you about that. When is it coming out?
Well, my wife, good news, my wife actually finished editing it. But now we have to format it because we had it all in chapters, separate, things. Now we got to put it all in the manuscript. Then she's going to read it to me. I'm going to close my eyes. She's going to read it to me and make sure that it's flowing right. And then we're also going to try to, as much as possible, take out big words. Because some of this is doctorate level. And I already tried to chip it down a little bit. Because sometimes that archaeology, when they talk, to me it sounds amazing.
Right.
And then my wife goes, what is this even saying? Because
So you want people to be able to read it without
yeah,
having to look up every word.
Well, and I try to give some definition because some words I like, but then I explain it right in the text. You don't have to go. I don't want to do a bibliography or whatever it is,
Right.
what it's called,
Yeah.
where you have all the words. You have to go to dictionary because I think that hurts learning. because my point is not teaching you archaeology. Now, if I was doing that, then I would force you. But I have two goals. One is expose the evolution of religion, because I think once you see its progress, it just debunks it all. It's like gone. And then the other one is I want to remove the rationale of faith. I want you to learn how to never, ever use faith for anything, to lose its value. And so I do that. I work hard on philosophy. Once again, another thing that's very confusing to a lot of people is how to use philosophy. Because I don't want to teach you philosophy. I don't want to tell you too many. I talk about one person or two, but I don't want to tell you a lot about who did it or why, because it's too much extra information. I want you to be able to know, how do I know what is true? How do I make good and valid beliefs? How do I understand when I'm not thinking correctly as opposed to what is thinking correctly? Because I think once you understand how to think properly, or at least go down that right path of critical thinking, then you're able to, flawed beliefs and good beliefs become a lot easier to sift them out. So, but once again, some of that stuff, and there was one where my wife didn't like it. I took, there's a common thing where people say that logic proves God. Well, to me, that's a total improper use of logic to begin with. So, but what they say is they try to trick you. They say, instead of saying God is real, they say if God is real and God produces objective morality, and we see objective morality in the world, thus God is real. And I go, no, actually, in logic, that's logically sound. Well, that's like saying something is grammatically correct, but that doesn't make it true. Forming a sentence grammatically correct or spelling correct doesn't make the sentence true. If I say dog is in the moon, thus the moon is a dog, that I may be able to phrase that in a way that the sentence is not bad, but it doesn't add to its truth at all. So I explained that in logic, there's a thing called a false premise. And that means that in almost like in court, when you provide things that are not in evidence as fact, then someone can object and say that is not in evidence. So you can't offer it as fact. So it starts with two flawed things. One, that a God could be real. You don't even know what a God is. First, tell me what a God is. What defines it? How do we know it? You can't do that. So you can't even say if a God. What's a God? You're just adding 2 letters together, 3 letters together, 4 letters. That doesn't mean anything. God, Vod, Todd, Shad. What is that? There's no tangible reality. The second thing is that saying that God has something to do with objective morality. Well, you don't know objective morality is actually real, or if it is, that it requires a God. It could be space aliens. It could be, nature. I mean, there's no reason to think that supernatural has to be involved for objective morality. And so you can't say thus the conclusion is completely arbitrary and false. And I explained in logic, that's actually called intellectual dishonesty. So, which I know is going to piss them off, but it's true. If you look up false premise, and it says intellectual dishonesty. So they're actually lying. They're using logic in a way to lie and make God sound real. And so I attacked that. Well, my wife thought it's too confusing how I was saying it. And then first of all, it made me mad because I want it exactly like that. I don't want you to change nothing because you want to change it like it's a logic structure. It has to be. I didn't put P equals F because of C equals J. Or I made it much more understandable. But she said still she doesn't get it. And I said, yeah, but this is not for regular people. This is an direct attack to people like William Lane Craig that are offering logic as a form of proving God. So this is an attack against them. So they'll know what it is, and it'll piss them off. Everyone else may or may not know, but they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But then she said, well, why don't you say that? Why don't you say that's why you're doing it? Oh, great idea. Yeah, I guess that would be a good idea. So everyone else is going like, what have I just read? Why is this even here? I'm like confused. What are you talking about? So, oh yeah, that's right. So sometimes things like that, sometimes things that are like, yeah, for me, everyone else is going, and? So she tries to do that to me a lot. And
Well, that's-
Damien, Damien, why are we talking about the cultural understanding of evolution of Southeast Turkey? Who cares? So they used to paint their pots red and now they paint them black. Why do we need to know this? I'm like, well, you need to know this because they try to say that the Indo-European language came from Georgia down into Turkey. But since we know that the black stoneware was done in Turkey first, at least 300 years before Georgia, we know that it actually came from Turkey to Georgia, which would debunk that theory of transmitting the language.
You need to have your own television show.
Why is that? I do. I have YouTube.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you need these days.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Well, I remember I told you I'm going to go around the United States. I've already planned for going to California, and for going to the Midwest, and for going to New York. And actually, I'm going to go to Houston now, Houston, Texas, because
And
there's
this is to
Promote my book.
Promote your book.
yeah.
Okay, so when it comes out, when are you going to be promoted?
Well, it's gonna come out, and I don't know exactly because I have to give it to them, and then they have to. Editor has to take a couple weeks to review what I did, and then say if they want me to change anything. And I don't know exactly, but it's gonna be a couple months, 2 or 3 months. It'll be out, and then once it's out, then I will every 2 months I'm gonna travel to somewhere in the United States, and I'm gonna do presentations on my book and explain why we need this, not just to just buy a book, but why you need to know this stuff I have.
Right, exactly.
Because there's a whole bunch of things people don't know.
Right.
Like yesterday, this guy comes up and goes, "Well, how come in the Quran, it's 1,400 years ago, we knew what medical science is?" I go, "Well, let me just stop you right there. You do agree, and you do know, because you're Muslim, that Muhammad was illiterate, right? Let's start on the facts. Well, yeah, okay. So he didn't write the Quran, right? Right. Okay. So let's start on some facts now. Okay. So we're agreeing he didn't write it. So don't tell me that he did. And well, people wrote it down. Okay. You do know then, since you're Muslim, and you know I know, that it wasn't written as a book, and he never asked for it to be written, and he died and never asked for the Quran to be written, right? Well, yeah. Okay. And then what it was in its original form? No, come on, don't lie. You know that's not true. I know the history of the Quran. You know that's not true. So the Quran was written, only parts of it, on pieces of leather, pieces of bone, pieces of parchment. They basically wrote it on little tiny scraps when he supposedly talked, while he talked, and they're like little tiny, it's like little parables or something. They fit on a jawbone of an ass or something. I mean, you hear it, you're like, what? This certainly wasn't written like, "Whoa, we're gonna for posterity, we're gonna keep all this." They were written like it was, just haphazard. So he didn't like me saying that. Well, that doesn't make it. It was like, no, because that wasn't even when they gathered all those together. The first caliph gathered all those together. They're like, this doesn't make a book. And so they go, "Oh, well, doesn't people remember what he used to say?" And so they gathered all the people that said they knew, and they had them all recite it, and whoever was kind of the same, they're writing it down. And then they're like, "Oh, well, what's the main message?" I mean, does that sound like? I go, look, I told him, even the phone game, the phone tag, where you go around and everybody tries to repeat something.
Right.
You can't even do it right. You really think that they got the true Quran from all that? I go, and then remember, he can't read. So how did he read the Old Testament and the Christian texts to add those facts about how Christians and Jews thought in the Quran? So someone else did. So that wasn't even him. You admit that, right? Someone else added besides Muhammad. Had to be. Well, I don't really, talk about that. Well, you need to if you're going to tell me I need to accept something in your Quran is true. I think it kind of matters. I go, okay, let's listen to another fact that I know. The 5th caliph actually burned Qurans. So you said the Quran has never changed. Let's just say that it was made into its form, whatever, from all the little pieces of scraps of stuff and people's, word. But then it ended up there was 3 different versions. There was the version in Saudi Arabia, the version in Iraq, and the version, I think it was Egypt or Syria or something. I'm not very good at details. I know so much stuff. But anyways, there wasn't one Quran. So the fifth caliph goes, this is a problem. So he got one of his Muhammad's wives was living, and she had a text also. And I think it was also different than the other ones. So he got all the texts together, and he tried to make one Quran, the one true Quran, because he said he saw the Christians when they bickered over stuff, it made a real problem. So this, like, I think it was like in 300 or no, not there. I can't remember exactly dates, but anyways, so he gets all the texts together, and he has all the other ones burned, including all the pieces of bone, all the pieces of leather and parchment that were the original actual documents we could have looked at, and no, as many as they could find. I go, does that sound like the truth? If it's the truth, why do you destroy? It's like the Jews destroying the Ten Commandments, or us burning the Constitution, and then saying, well, we have the better one. We just didn't. What? What are you hiding?
Yeah. Oh, you know a lot. Well, I can't wait for your book.
Yeah, let us know. And on that note, I actually need to get going 'cause I need to start dinner and put some videos together to go up tomorrow. But
Cool.
it's nice meeting you all.
Nice meeting
I already
you.
met you, but
Yeah.
it's nice seeing you again.
Who doesn't know Bradley?
Yeah.
Are you going to the Seattle Atheist thing this week? Or?
I'm busy weekday evenings.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Yeah. We don't. My wife and I don't get to go all the time, but we try and make it out every now and then. Since I think at this point I've actually been going to these. Well, maybe Kofi. Kofi's probably been doing it longer than I have, but I've been there off and on longer than most people have been there. So, like Verica can't make it. She's always like, Ellen, can you and Neff go over there and make sure everybody's okay? They need to be babysat. All right, guys.
It's good seeing you.
Yeah, I'll see y'all later. Take care.
So yeah.
You too.
So let's hear about you.
I don't know. What do you want to know?
What made you decide to come here? You said you came here because you wanted to find people and that would
Yeah.
like you. And what made you like us?
Oh. There's this very interesting thing called the internet.
Yeah.
Love the internet.
Yeah. When I ended up getting my first laptop, I spent a lot of time on the internet, and then I was like, I was actually, I was actually believing in the Christian God and everything, and what ended up happening is I ended up getting debates with people, and at first I was, always leaning towards the Christian God, and everything about him made sense to me, but as soon as I started hearing all these arguments that other people were having, I was like, okay, so that might actually be true. I gotta check that out because I never actually read much of the Bible or anything else. And very early on, I learned to not look at apologists.
Yeah.
Very early on, I learned to not look at those ones because even those guys I kind of just disagreed with. And actually, it's really funny because the way I started off, I was just hardly into it. To me, kind of like Flanders from The Simpsons. In the beginning, I remember reading something about him. It's a TV trope called Flanderization, where it starts off as Ned Flanders just being a good person mainly just because he listened to stuff in the church, and then later on he starts getting more right wing and right wing. Suddenly he's creationist and everything. Yeah, so I was starting off as that kind of person who's just trying to be the good guy, and then suddenly I started moving a little to the right, and then when I started to actually talk to people about it, it's like, oh, this might not be true.
So how long ago was that?
How long ago my deep conversion? That would be summer 2013.
Okay. So do you have a group of friends that are like-minded, or are you looking for friends?
Yeah, I'm looking. Because what ended up happening is just, it's just an internet community, and strangest thing, well, it's not really strange, it's just, as a result, I kind of just backed away because, it's like these guys knew me as, this Christian, and suddenly, all of a sudden, they're like, don't believe it. Like, what should I just say? But just recently, because during that time, the time between 2013 to now, I just didn't care too much. I was like, I just don't believe, and I didn't care. But then suddenly, because my brother and my sister, they're really into God just like I was, and what ended up happening was that as soon as I started noticing that they were getting more and more towards you, like, okay, there are some things that I have against, but what to say? Because I haven't told them. Well, I told my sister recently, but that didn't go so well.
Surprise. So are you reading books? Have you read any books that have helped you kind of?
No,
You
I
haven't
haven't
done
really
any?
read much books.
Yeah. There's some.
I kind of want to, but it's like, well, I come home with a book. What is everybody gonna think?
Oh, okay. So you're still living at home with,
Yeah.
with your parents?
Yeah, maybe.
So, okay, that makes it hard. Yeah. Well, do you live in this area?
Yeah, it's,
Okay. Well, I'd suggest you just go to a lot of meetups. there is one, actually, there's another meetup. It's
Auburn.
Auburn Free Thought
Excellent meeting.
Society. And it's a group that I started about 6 years ago, and we meet in Renton. Is it hard for you to get to Renton? Do you do you have a car? Or?
no, I can't drive, and I wouldn't be able to drive anyways.
Oh, okay. But, okay. Well, I'm sure. Where do you live at?
Oh, like, I just live close to the golf course, really. It's,
This golf course in Kent?
Yeah, it's this golf
Okay.
course in Kansas. There's an apartment like right next to it, apartment buildings.
Okay.
It's called Riverwood. Yeah, that's where I
Oh,
live.
okay. I was just thinking that would be a great meetup for you to come to.
But if it's too far away, then you can't.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But there's here.
Yeah. So and we have, how many meetings now we have here?
There's another one this Saturday, isn't there?
Saturday, yeah. Yes.
Two Saturdays and this one.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's not far for you to walk then, not too far.
Right. And if I really,
No, I'm just saying, I'm just trying to show you.
if I really wanted to, I can always take a bus.
Yeah. Well, we're glad you found us.
Oh, I know how to
You took a chance and
Yeah.
came to me.
And I also have a friend who is openly atheist, but he's currently in I think he's in the Marines,
Oh, okay.
and he's all the way in Japan right now.
Wow.
So he just recently came back just to visit,
Uh-huh.
and then when we hang out a bit, I just told him about it, and he recommended maybe you should join some groups, and I've been thinking about that quite some time.
Well, good. I'm glad that you joined. Yeah, stay in touch because sometimes there's things posted. Even if you join, did you join Auburn Free Thought yet? Okay, I know that the other gentleman did. I remember him joining this one. But if you join, you can find out what's going on too. There is a way you can get to other places, like things going on in Seattle, and sometimes there's debates and stuff going on that are kind of interesting. Bob, one of our members, Bob Seidensticker, and another atheist, Valerie Tarico, are going to do a debate up in Bellingham.
But that's too far.
It's too far. Yeah, it's too far to walk. But we
And
have.
there's no way to drive.
Yeah, but there are. So check things out because you might be able to get a ride too. Sometimes people will post on there if you want to go to something like that. Is anyone going that way? And if they live close to you, they could, give you a ride. Just a thought.
I think it would take you like 3 or 4 hours to get there by train.
Yeah. Are you going? Are you going to go to the debate?
No,
I am.
busy.
I'm going.
Work.
I want
You're
to
going?
I want to see this. Yeah, I'm going. My husband and I are going.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I went to his last one. Did you go to his last one?
Gosh, I've been to so many. Which one was that?
Look at that black sentence on top.
Wait a
That's
minute.
that shows the Quran was burned. It was burned in 667 CE, whatever.
Okay, now where do you get all, where are you
67.
getting this information? I mean, I'm just asking.
Well, this-
Harvard
That's 67 on their calendar.
Oh, I don't know. This is, I'm not very good at exact dates. I know what happened. I know why it happened. I mean, I have.
Well, it has to be 67 in their calendar, because 67 in ours.
Well, no, 600. Sorry. You're right. 667. Yeah.
Right, 667.
Sorry,
okay.
I said that wrong.
Okay,
I go, well,
that would
yeah,
be,
that's what we're right. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Yeah. True. True.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. So,
I want you to send me a list of all your,
But so right, well that's why people don't understand why I have my second chapter has like 450 references
that's great. I want that book.
because you need because I don't like faith, so I don't demand you to have faith either. And when I say that the Quran is a lie,
right.
I want you to know that you can say, yeah, it is,
Right.
and feel pretty
And
damn
that's a good-
confident.
That's a good thing.
You can say Bible's bullshit, and you can actually show the facts of why that's true.
That's what
So-
we want.
So,
We want the facts.
well, because otherwise it's just arguing about, like they were saying, translation. Although do have a good thing too. If someone ever tries to tell you about translations, just people online or you, a good thing to do is actually go to Bible Hub, because Bible Hub will list every translation or a whole bunch of them. So we can look here at about 30 translations and find out, is she true?
Okay.
So because people
Bible?
online, Bible Hub.
Hub, HUB?
BibleHub.com. I always go to this because when people start translation, well, you're mistranslating. Oh, let's look at all the translations. Okay, so let's do what I said, Luke 14:26. In the international version, right, which is the most widely used besides the King James, it says hate your father. So the Living Translation, it says must hate everyone. So it uses hate. The English version uses do not hate, anyone who does not hate his father, so that's hate. So she said it was disown.
Right.
The American Standard Version is hate. The King James says hate. The Holman Christian Standard Bible says hate. The International Standard Version says hate. The Net Bible says hate. The Aramaic Bible, plain English, hate. Well, God's Word, trademarked, translation, abandoned. So I don't know, which do you think is the real, who's misinterpreting what?
So what is that one that says the one she was saying? What's the name of the?
Oh, the name of the verse?
No, the verse, the
Oh,
information that, where you're getting the information that they translated as,
wrong, you mean?
right.
I'm confused
Not
what you're
wrong.
asking, sorry.
Okay, you said there was just one of those references. that
Well, right, because
agreed with
I think Jubilee Bible 2000 uses hate. King James
Right,
Version
right.
2000 uses hate. The American King James Version says hate. The American Standard Version says hateth, which I don't
Right.
know, well, I just might as well hate. The Dowdry Ryman's Bible, I don't know what that is, but hate. The Darby Bible translation uses hate. The English version uses hateth. The Webster's Bible, which I didn't know they had one, uses hateth. The Wisemouth translation uses hate. The World English Bible says disregard. Another one lying.
World English says just.
Right, it says disregard. The other one that just said to something not right was God's Word trademarked translation. That one used it abandon. But they're
Okay.
obviously the wrong word, since
Right,
every other
right.
version under
I
the sun
agree. I just-
says hate. You can't, when 30 versions, 2 of them only say something other than hate. I think those 2 are probably the ones that are mistranslating, not me. But, you know, if you're going to make stuff up,
Right.
then
I was just wondering, where she got that. She seemed so sure when she said it. So someone probably her minister or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
had
yeah.
read it.
Oh, yeah.
I was just trying to.
which I would call intellectual
Yeah.
dishonesty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when you know that out of 30 versions, only 2 list something different, and those
Right.
2 don't even have the same difference.
Right, right,
So they're not even,
Exactly.
like other ones, hate, and then abandon, and then disown. They're like,
right, exactly.
yeah, I'm
So
thinking
somebody
you
just didn't like to have that word.
They didn't like the
hated.
word hate. Like her,
So they-
didn't like the word hate because it sounds bad. Because you know
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
It is bad. Big shocker. Why did she say it doesn't say that? Because they hate that it actually says that.
Well, it's kind of like, this is a Christian nation, damn it. No,
Yeah,
it's
so you
not.
just, but that's why, I say when I debate people, I demand that you speak in reality, in the facts. I don't go to your fantasy, you're going to come back to my reality. So like you said, I like to know about the facts because we're going to come back to reality. Because the problem is, like, especially street debating, if you go to beliefs, every Christian has their own beliefs.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every goddamn Christian. Not even, sometimes an whole family, they don't the same. You ask 5 people in a family, 5 different versions of what God exactly does, or how He works in their life, or what the afterlife is like, or what it means, or when God's going to come back, or whatever, or how the Bible should be translated. You can't get them in the whole family sometimes to agree. So I don't do that.
Right.
We're going to come back to what it really does. Because that's something we can work with. That's something I can universally make them come back to reality. Because it's like free thought. If you're really a free thinker and I show you the actual truth,
Right.
you either believe it or you're dogmatic. So if you're really a free thinker, like, you're going to have to accept it. It actually says that.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a time when I first was exposed to fundamentalism. When I was actually, this person was just, preaching what it said. I'm like, that can't be right. And then I looked like, well, it does say that.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
So how old were you when you became religious? Were you raised?
Oh, it's just, what, I was raised like that, but we hardly went to church.
Right,
And my parents were always busy. They always had to work, and by the time Sunday came, they were always tired.
Right,
And what ended up happening was I also had this problem that I can't hear so well, so I'm wearing hearing aids right now. And well, whatever they're talking about, I just wasn't listening because I didn't really understand anything they were saying. It was I couldn't hear.
Maybe it's for the better.
exactly.
There's no need to hear the lie clearly. There's no loss there.
So how your brother and you both live at home, or how many people are in your family?
Currently the ones that are living at home, there's five people, my parents and my brother and my sister. And
Yeah. Are they older, younger than you?
they're older than me.
So you're the youngest.
Yes.
Lucky you. And you're the rebel.
Kind of a weird thing is at a time, my sister would have considered herself, out non-religious, but now she is. Well, even now, they wouldn't really say religious; they would say spiritual.
Right, spiritual, not religious. Yeah, I know. A lot of people like saying that. Yeah.
Well, because religion requires you to actually follow the religion. Spiritual allows you to just make shit up. But if you're making shit up, then how is it true? Yeah, I mean,
Right.
if you admit,
Oh, no.
if you both admit that you're making shit up,
Right.
then
Yeah.
you're making shit up. I mean,
I know.
I mean, I'll at least give it to someone like you said, fundamentalist. At least they're following something. But if you're actually just making shit up, then how do you think I'm supposed to take that as anything
Right.
real? You're already agreeing with me that you're making shit up.
Yes.
I know. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm a non-accommodationalist, so yeah. I just tell it
I
like
know
it
that.
is. I just tell it like it is.
No.
To me, if you're offended by the truth, you should be. Well, I always tell people, the truth afraid to challenge is actually a masquerading lie, fearing exposure. There should be no truth afraid to challenge, none. You can challenge me all day long. And you know what? Here's the thing too. A lot of times, I'm probably going to have to check because I could be a little wrong, and I'm willing to admit that. Because you know what? I have read 10,000 articles, and I'm sorry, I'm a big picture person, not detail. I'm probably say things like Bradley figured out. I was saying 67 instead of 60, and I just read it.
Yeah.
So I just read
Right.
it, and I still couldn't say it right. So, but that's fine. I mean, here's the thing. Other than the Bible, I don't have to be perfect. Right? I can make mistakes.
Who's perfect? Who is perfect?
Yeah, I
No
got
one.
I came up with the wrong explanation for how it could be 67.
Oh, so you weren't
Because
perfect
you
either.
have like the Islamic calendar that
No, I know what you're talking about.
the migration from Mecca to Medina.
Right.
You guys, I want your brains.
Well, what he's talking about is important because it has
I
to
know
do
it
with
is.
the transmission
right.
thing. Just like people understand that also was Jews living there before that, and they were traders and they had a big influence on that society, and so only a certain period of time that they had a peace treaty at a certain time though, then they stopped doing that. But yeah.
But see, what I don't understand, I read that stuff, but I can't keep it all in my brain.
Does this sound like I keep it all totally?
Yes.
Because
Yes,
it doesn't
you
feel
and
like
Bradley
it to me.
both. I'm just like, what? I mean, like you'll say things, and I'm like, oh, I read that, but I totally forgot about it.
But you would be surprised how much I've actually forgot. Like I said, I read about 50 books and about 10,000 articles to write my book, and I've spent 3 years. And there's some things I go back and read, and I'm like, wow, that was really cool. I don't even remember writing that, let alone reading before and then translating it. I'm like, that is really freaking cool. I'm so glad I put that in my book.
Okay, now you just got me all excited about that book. Oh, I got your, I ordered your
Poem book?
poem book
Yeah.
on Amazon.
Yeah, I wish I could redo it. Because you stop touching that thing.
What?
I want to redo it because,
Oh.
because see, it's the second version of it. The first version I was a Christian. In 2006, I wrote it as a Christian.
Okay.
So then at 2000, I think it was 10, I updated because I was disgusted about it was Christian. And so I took out I took out 3 chapters. One was on love. I felt it was unnecessary for the book. At the time, I had different thinking. Then I took out a version on nature because I felt it was arbitrary to what I was trying to do for the book. And then I also took out a chapter on how to be religious, or about poems about being religious, I should say. So obviously, because I'm going to
right.
throw those into the garbage, burn them.
Right.
But but I also I was very new in my atheism. I'm way different now. So like I say, I don't even know if I should call myself an atheist. I just knew I didn't believe in gods. But I really didn't understand what atheism was, because I didn't come to atheism because I read Dawkins or something. I came to atheism because I read, the world religions, and then I took a class on the Bible that was half on history, half Bible text, and half archaeology, or something close to that. And because of that, that's what seeing the actual facts, especially to me, I always tell people, the biggest thing that really got me, I mean, because I actually, like the blood, it was like, I felt hot. It was like being born again or something. I mean, as an atheist.
Right.
Because the reason it hit me so hard, this is a lie. And I've lived my whole life as a lie. And it was like just so much like stress, because then also my whole life is going to change. It was just like everything hit me, but I knew I couldn't go back.
Right.
And it was basically that understanding that the serpent, the devil, Lucifer, and Satan, not one of those is the same person. And they all are explained different in the Bible. I was like, when they proved it to me, I was just like, I'm telling you, I just.
That's what I didn't even know who Dawkins was. Dawkins, any
Yeah, you're right.
any of those people, and I was reading the books about pre-history,
Exactly.
our religion of Judaism and Christianity, and the lights started coming on.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh wow, and I just knew it was all a lie.
Yep.
And it was the most awesome feeling, because
It felt good to you?
All that
For me, it felt like
guilt,
overwhelming.
All that guilt, all that stuff that I was carrying around, it just went away, and I'm like, wow, I am really free of this stuff.
See,
But
they
I
didn't do
but
that
then-
for me for 6
but then-
months.
But then I didn't know anybody except my daughters, who had kind of been going through it with me.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody else. And so when I found the free thought community and all the, humanists, atheists, and skeptics, and
Rationalists.
rationalists, I
I'm
like
going to
that.
get you to say that.
I know you are. I'm just not used to people saying that, but that's a good one. That's a good
Well,
one.
like I said, and if people ask me, what's the difference?
Yeah.
There's a difference between how a rationalist thinks and someone who says they're a skeptic think. So a skeptic starts with, I doubt things you're saying until they're proven, in a
Right,
sense.
right.
Well, to me, as a rationalist, I don't doubt things or believe things until they have warrant. So in other words, some things that you say don't require doubt. If you say that, that right down the street, is the country of Egypt, I don't have to doubt that. There's no warrant to deserve that to be doubted. So, I mean, for me, you say like, well, you have to doubt everything. People say, you have to doubt everything until you're proven. And I disagree with that completely. For me personally, that statement doesn't hold any validity. That's why I tell people the simplest way to say it is, it's like you saying that the planet Pluto is in your pocket. I neither have to look or have to reserve doubt until I look. I do know that doesn't fit the actual natural world. So, I mean, so it means.
So it's rational.
Right, so it's rational, right? So I don't tell other people how they think is wrong. I just say that I want to clarify that this is how I think, so you understand how I approach things. Now, most rationalists are strong atheists. In other words, strong atheists being that they will say, I know there's no God. Where most skeptics are going to be soft or weak atheists and say, I don't know, I don't believe.
See, personally, I don't feel I have to prove to anybody.
But
I'm just saying, for me, I see.
You don't have to
I just don't believe it. I just.
Right, but I'm
don't
just saying. But I'm
believe
saying the
it.
difference between someone saying they believe and no. So there's the problem. I'm also a agnostic and not an agnostic. An agnostic with an I, not an agnostic with an A. An agnostic believes that we don't know knowledge, or that possibly we don't know knowledge about God, or we can't know or can't disprove God. An agnostic says, what is a God? You're talking total nonsense. I don't have to disprove anything you've never even shown validity or thing. The word you're talking holds no meaning, so you can't even tell me that I have to even question. in fact, I don't even, for an agnostic, I don't actually even have to be atheist. You've never said anything that I have to go against. You've not provided anything for me to require even doubt. So in a sense, that is my main position. Rational. What's different though is one uses skepticism, and one uses more of a kind of a rational logic. Because what it says that so like I said, I don't think there's one type of right atheist. I just want people to understand what it is I am.
Right, and that's fine. I mean, I think that's wonderful that you know exactly where you are and what you believe and what you don't believe.
But see, I think you're a rationalist in a sense too.
Yeah, but
because you said you don't have to
no.
Because you said a statement. You said I don't have to. What did you say? I don't have to disprove or something. What did you say? Exactly.
I don't have to prove or disprove God. I just know.
Right. So, but even if you just stopped there,
Yeah.
you're already stating a rationalist position.
Right.
I don't have you. It's like me saying I have to disprove a child's imaginary friend. Yeah, I don't have to. I just know it's false.
Exactly. Yeah. No, and I like that term, rationalist. I really do.
Well, no, it's funny that there's a scientist that wrote this article I liked that said he wants to remove atheism because atheism is anti or against or not believing in theism. He said as if theism is the norm, and we all should, and we're somehow the abstract rejecting it. So it should be rationalists and a-rationalists because they're rejecting rationalism. I completely agree.
Wow, yeah.
They are. They're rejecting what is rational. So that's why, to me, and I talk a lot about this in my book, and explain why. Because and you know what's really sad? There's an international rational association, but there's not one in America. Really
Well,
sad.
you need to start.
Oh, I'm going to. I'm going to, because I think it's. Yeah, I
you
thought.
need to start it.
Well, yeah, because I think it's really. I'm going to. So my book is out and I get some more money and stuff. Because right now I'm going to be spending probably about $20,000 to go out and promote my book. So I don't have time and money to do it. But I absolutely agree with you. I think it's very important because instead of starting with doubt, we start with logic and reason. Things that don't match this don't even get to warrant doubt. It's not, like I said, not the doubt's not bad. I think that if you aren't very educated, or if you don't know, or if you're unsure, I think doubt is always what you should go to.
Sure,
But you should also understand, like I said, that some things don't deserve doubt.
Yeah.
At least for me.
Right, exactly. But as far as coming from religion, it is a journey.
Oh, it is totally. I agree.
So there are these steps of doubt that you take along the way, and then your doubt just becomes like, it grows. It's like you may have a little in the beginning, and then by the time you reach the conclusion, which is nada, then your doubt about that is gone. But it doesn't happen. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it does for some people.
Well, like I said, it did for me. The reason I'm in that.
Well, I mean, it happened like that, but it was still because I had to read something first. I had to learn something.
I had to learn something. Like I said, I learned stuff.
Yeah, you had to
So
learn.
I guess you're kind of right, because the first thing that got me to think and question a little bit was actually biology class when they said that everyone starts out a female. I was like, wait a second, what the hell? What are you talking about? It takes 3 processes to make a man, and I thought Adam was first. Shouldn't it be the other way around? I'm like, that right there is like, okay. I have the strongest feeling right now that the creation story is bullshit.
Exactly. Science wins.
So I guess you're correct. I did have gauging of doubt, and then when I heard the world religions and saw how they were so similar, that made me doubt it. But once I got to the thing about halfway through the book about the Bible, I was done. I was so done. It was like burnt steak, man.
Yeah.
Cooked inside and out.
So do you use the internet to get information?
Yeah.
on atheism or free thought, or do you? So
Yeah, I do.
you do.
Are you on Facebook? You don't have to. I'm just asking.
Yes, I'm on Facebook, but I'm not. I don't look it on Facebook.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah.
See, my kids put me on Facebook, and I get when I get things from you or my other friends.
She just goes delete,
I
delete.
do not. I like your stuff. I push like. I just get so much stuff from because I got all my family. Now that I'm on Facebook, I'm all my family and so much stuff going on. I'm like, oh, I don't have time for this. I just barely have time to read my emails and delete the garbage that I get. And, God.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I'm like live on Facebook, like a dark ravager of atheism.
Well, that's I believe that. That's cool, though. See, that's a good way.
Oh, I've had tons of people like write me private messages and tell me they love me and all this and that. I mean, not just sexually, but I mean like
Right,
as
I know.
a person, like what you're doing is like amazing and yeah.
It is. Cool. What time is it?
It's time to stop.
Yeah, we probably should.
It was fun.
It is. It's always fun getting together. So I hope that we see you, Robert, again. That would be nice. When's our next?
Bye.